Babies?
Madam Mayor, it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's,
Madam Mayor, it's still 6 o'clock.
no, he's a tenant. You're
6:01 now.
There we go.
You're employed.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Tuesday, March 3rd. Wow, March already. Regular City Commission meeting to order, and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Triolo,
Hello.
Vice Mayor Andy Amorosa,
Here.
Commissioner Scott Maxwell, Commissioner Omari Hardy,
Here.
Commissioner Herman
Here.
Robinson. Thank you.
Everyone, please rise for the invocation. Lord of all creation, we come today to honor you and to remind ourselves of your pivotal place in our lives. We ask for your blessings on this meeting. We ask that your wisdom would guide us as we seek to accomplish the goals on today's agenda. Thank you for the opportunities you give us to serve you and to serve others. May our actions and our attitudes please you this day. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, additions, deletions, reordering?
No, Madam Mayor, I don't have any.
Okay, then we'll move right on to our presentations.
We're going. Excuse me, Madam Mayor. The principal is not here
He's en route.
yet. He's en route,
Second traffic.
and so we could move the neighborhood planning program up if
That
you
would be
want.
terrific. Okay, neighborhood planning program presentation. William.
your partner.
For the record, William Waters, Community Sustainability Director. I put on the dais right before the meeting a little pamphlet that is our dummy template for what will become at one point neighborhood planning documents for each one of the neighborhoods. But as part of the comprehensive planning process that was completed in 2018, we did identify the city of Lake Worth Beach as a community of neighborhoods. And out of that came some goals and objectives to spend some time trying to help assist various neighborhoods in the city to look at their goals, objectives, needs, how we might make them more safe, provide for their public improvement. And so we put together this template that goes into what's all in a neighborhood plan. We're going to be looking at needs assessment, sort of a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We've put together a list of things the city could be helpful in providing to a neighborhood. As part of the neighborhood planning process, we do anticipate going out in some larger district-wide meetings to explain the program over probably the next couple of years and show the template of what we're trying to do. There's a purpose that's been promoted from the comprehensive plan. It's basically trying to create a team approach to the city, other entities, and the neighborhoods to make sure that they're viable, sustainable, as best a neighborhood as they can be, as well as in tandem with our slogan that Lake Worth Beach, the best version of itself. These are the sort of a map of all the neighborhoods that we have identified, or generally given a name to all of them. Some of them do have formal names, some have formal neighborhood associations, some don't, but there are contact people for each one. And looking at some of the data and analysis, we have a lot of it already in place. Some of the things we're looking at are code cases, business licenses, the top 10 code cases that a neighborhood identifies as being of interest to them, the school district boundaries, general demographic information, whether they have a neighborhood association, how is it set up, how often they meet, their interaction with the city, points of contact of various interests that the city maybe provide information. These are just some samples of our consultants pulled together from information that we already have. This will be done for each neighborhood to give a basic base analysis of where we are at the moment and where we might like to go. There will be a neighborhood survey likely created for each one, asking them to look at what types of improvements from a specified template. We've identified between 10 and 14 items the city could help neighborhoods with. Some of them come with no cost. Many of them come with things that we're already doing in the city. There's some money available here and there for like neighborhood road calming, neighborhood signage, that sort of thing. And we'd ask the neighborhoods to identify and prioritize what types of those selected items they would like to see implemented in their own neighborhoods. So tonight is basically giving you a presentation of how we're going to approach this over time. I will say that this is going to be delayed a little bit due to some staffing changes in community sustainability and the fact that we're going to be talking on Thursday about land development regulation improvements, and that's going to take precedent over our consultant being able to help us with this, but we will try to get this in some sort of framework and a timeline for you as soon as we can. We do anticipate the 4 regional district meetings to explain the process sometime by the end of May, early June. There'll be a neighborhood survey that's almost finished, and then a timeline how we plan to approach, because it'll take several years to get all of these plans done since there are at least 26 of them to be completed. And that's an overview of what the neighborhood planning program will be. You will be updated periodically. You'll be invited to the district meetings that fall in your district. Of course, the mayor will be invited to all of them since you have all districts. And commissioners are welcome to come to other districts when we have those meetings. There's already been a little bit of outreach to the CRA and Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. They have their work with the grant has identified some avenues and resources that can be tapped to help neighborhoods. The CRA will be involved, and we'll probably be giving a presentation at some point to the Neighborhood President's Council. Thanks.
Questions? Commissioner Hardy? I'm sorry, Commissioner Robinson?
There won't be a vote required at the end of your study and presentation, will
Well, we haven't identified how. More than likely, we'll bring the plans to you for acceptance, because I would hate for a neighborhood to spend time with us, develop sort of a plan that's driven by them, and then we get it to you and they vote it down. It's going to be very, if you'll notice the template there, it's very direct as to what services the city can provide. Of course, a neighborhood can identify other things they would like to work on, such as a SHIP grant or one of those extraordinary things that we might be able to provide some guidance and staff support for, but not actually do ourselves. Much of the demographic information that we'll be finding could help support those grant applications, but we're going to keep it very narrow as to what we can really help them with, and they'll have to take from that list which ones they prioritize.
Are you going to address the boundaries of the neighborhoods so that there isn't a neighborhood within a neighborhood or anything like that?
If that were to come up as part of the discussions with the neighborhoods, we would deal with that.
Okay, good.
This may lead to a formal neighborhood planning program by which you could vet neighborhood associations and formally identify them, but we don't have that now, so we're going with what the city has had for a number of years, is that it's sort of by default, for lack of a better way to put it, is how the neighborhoods are identified and the bylaws and geographical boundaries are provided to us. Because I don't know of a formal process where you sanctify that this is the area that that neighborhood would be, except through their submission of information to the clerk's office in Slovenia.
And last, there was a narrative about a neighborhood, an example of a narrative, and I can't come up with it now, but I was disappointed to read it and hope that it isn't used as any narrative for any neighborhood in relation to demographics and income levels, and I just thought totally unnecessary and not what this study should be about.
Okay.
It was a narrative of how poor the community was, how it was just pretty objectionable in my view. It talked about cultural issues with, it was just,
Was it in the document that's up there or somewhere else?
It's in this, and it is an example of a narrative of a neighborhood.
Okay.
And I don't want to read it out loud.
Vice Mayor?
And I was just going to comment on that. That it might be something that came through the grant that was being worked on, because I know that the colleges in order to get the grants, the colleges prepare some of that information because we've seen some of it for different communities.
Negativity, is that
Well,
important?
it's not necessarily
One at a time.
negative. It's the demographics of the area in order to qualify for the grants that will help those areas. So that might be where
Some
that
of those
comes
are, you could be interpreted as being rather disparaging.
Yeah, but it's really to help the neighborhood get to where they need to be through a grant process. You know.
Well, now that we have the grant, we need to
That's not our
accentuate
grant.
the positive.
That's Palm Beach Sheriff's Office grant, not ours.
Yeah.
We will hopefully help some neighborhoods apply for some grants and receive them in furtherance of their making their neighborhood stronger.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, could you just ask if anyone has a blue card that they want to bring up? There's a gentleman in the back, I believe he wants to bring his blue card.
Oh, sure, please come on up. Anyone with the blue card, we have public participation. I'll take it. Thanks. Okay. All right, and he's still not here, huh? He's outside, okay. All right, let's take a
Talk among yourselves.
1-minute break. Talk amongst yourselves. Mr. Robinson?
Well, just to continue on the importance of the neighborhoods and the volatility of sometimes a neighborhood within a neighborhood, and for the city to recognize one neighborhood and not a neighborhood within a neighborhood can be problematic.
You're speaking riddles this evening.
Well, it's Hermanese, but I hope you get the point that
Well, I'll give you
at
an
some
example.
point
Some of the neighborhood associations cross boundaries. We do think that likely the downtown business community or the business community itself might end up being a neighborhood. And so in some instances, the downtown neighborhood actually falls in part of downtown Jewel, part of Bryant Park, part of Mango Grove.
Yeah.
So that might be segregated out in a way, and the downtown neighborhood becomes a neighborhood plan, even though it might take some portions of the areas that are in other formal neighborhood associations, because most of those neighborhood associations focus on residential needs and desires versus those of a business area. That's just an example.
And I look forward to the creation of South Federal Highway Neighborhood Association. So
You can be the first president.
Presidents of neighborhoods are to be commended.
All right, we're going to move on to our next presentation. Lake Worth Middle School update. Principal Williams, hello.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize for being late. I'm in the process of moving and had to run and see the real estate agent and try to get back here, and traffic was out of control.
We could have scheduled it another time.
Oh, no. This is fine. My name is Mike Williams. Those of you who do not know, I'm the very proud principal of Lake Worth Middle School. February 23rd marked my 5th year in that position, and I'm very happy there. I have no desire to move anywhere else at the moment unless the powers that be see fit. I wanted to start my presentation off with a short little video that we just filmed this year, so if I could draw your attention to the televisions, please. Hi, I'm Principal Mike Williams. Welcome to Lake Worth Community Middle School. Let me tell you what's cool about our school. We have 2 great choice programs, our Biomedical Academy and our Pre-Engineering Academy. Our Biomedical Academy has a collaboration with FAU College of Medicine, an honors program for grades 6 through 12. We are preparing students to enter college and then medical school. Our Pre-Engineering program is a hands-on program using advanced engineering concepts and applications.
Una, dos.
We have a dual language program where students are able to master 2 languages while learning global culture. We also have a program where students will be challenged in honors curriculum. Many students will also be enrolled in the other academies while in the gifted program. We have an information technology program. It's an in-house academy where students will be exposed to the latest technological applications leading to industry certification 8th grade?
I like going to Lake Worth Middle School because it gives me many opportunities to become a doctor.
Every kid here is really smart and really friendly. The teachers really help us whenever we need help.
Thank you for visiting Lake Worth Community Middle School, where we live by the Warrior Way every day in every way. Thank you. Well, I hate my southern accent when I'm being recorded. But in any event, an update on Lake Worth Middle School. We are growing by leaps and bounds. When I got there 5 years ago, we had about 820 students, and now we're sitting at around about 1,300. So we are bursting at the seams. But we're managing. We're about to a point to where I'm actually going to put in a request to maybe add some portable classrooms, because things are just getting tight. We recently received several upgrades as a result of the 1-cent sales tax. We recently got new fencing, galvanized steel all the way around the campus. We recently had our bleachers updated, painted, etc. I'm working on some other projects around the campus to beautify it. One of the things I did want to point out is that last year, as far as student achievement, Lake Worth Middle School achieved a great amount of growth. We had the second highest student growth in mathematics out of all the middle schools in the district. We're about the number 5 when it came to English language arts and reading as far as growth. So we had a pretty good showing with the growth. That hard work paid off with a 51-point overall increase in the school grade model. Wasn't enough to get us out of the C range, but nonetheless, it did get us a little bit closer to the B, and we're striving to get that B again this year. We are trying a lot of different innovative things with our students, new instructional models like the rotational model, which we've just begun to implement in English language arts. We'll be doing it in math as well. We were also, now that I think about it, one of the only middle schools to see an increase last year on the 8th grade science test. Very few people. It's a tough test that they take it in the 8th grade, but it tests them over the information that they should have learned from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So it's interesting because you have to go back and cover all that stuff. And we were one of the only schools that saw some movement with that. I'm going to keep it short because I have to run back out here shortly. Do you have any questions for me?
I have one question.
Yes.
When we had met with the Mayor's Education Council in the past,
Yes.
we were talking with, VPK is always one of the big things that people need, but it was also expressed to us that there was a need for after-school programs for the middle school students. Is that still the case, or?
I think that will always be the case, even though we do have an after-school program. It's called the ICANN program, but we saw the enrollment dip quite a bit this year. I don't know where the kids are after school. We dropped off probably about 60 or 70 kids, which is interesting since we had such an increase in our enrollment. So they're somewhere. They're not with us after school, but they're somewhere. So I think there would always be a need for something like that.
Well, we're going to have our upcoming meeting. I hope you can come because I have a couple of ideas.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure. You said you gained really about 500 students over the past few years.
Yes.
Which is a lot of growth. Do you know what would you attribute that to? Was there like a boundary change that affected you at the middle school level, or?
No, they've tried that. They still want to come and stay with us. Even though there was some elementary schools that went to K through 8, we still maintain and still grew. I would just contribute to the fact that people are continually moving to Lake Worth and Lake Worth Beach. They just are. A lot of that too. Don't want to offend anyone who's in favor of charter schools, but we have some kids that go to charters and they come back.
Right.
They just come back.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate the hard work that you and your staff do.
Thank you.
It's very much appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
I just want to congratulate you on your upward movement on the grades and mention the music program. I went to a choral program. It was great.
Thank you. When I came to Lake Worth Middle, I came from high school, spending 21 years in the high schools, various high schools, and including Lake Worth High School. But I've always liked a nice fine arts program with music and band and things like that. So that was a goal of mine to get on that. And the gentleman that runs our choral program right now, if you ask him, there are two things that I asked him to do when he got there. One, I want the chorus to sing the national anthem. I want to be able to have them perform. And then the other thing is, I want the city of Lake Worth Beach and other cities to call us to perform for them. So
They, you could see the pride in themselves on stage.
yeah, he's definitely, that program is definitely a testament to expectations, having high expectations of kids, because they do high school pieces when they go out and perform.
It was fantastic.
Yes.
You have a standing invitation.
Okay.
Anything.
Holiday parade.
Holiday parade.
Oh yeah. We'll definitely do that.
Cultural Plaza. We'll have a go.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with your move.
All right. Have a good evening.
Okay. Commission liaison reports and comments. Commissioner Robinson?
We just finished the 26th year of street painting. Seems to get bigger and better every year. It was almost a different attitude with everybody there. I want to thank Marianne Weber and Nadine Burns and all the volunteers that make that a success. And I'm sure Commissioner Amoroso is going to mention the unity in the community, so I'll let him do that. And that's it.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yes, unity in the community is the theme for Gay Pride this year. Gay Pride's coming up the 28th and 29th. The parade is on the 29th of March. And then we also, I'm very happy to be the Grand Marshal for the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Sunday, March 15th at 1 p.m. downtown.
Sure. Last month was Black History Month, and we celebrated the achievements of the African diaspora here in this country. And this month we declared it just outside here, Madam Mayor, you did, Gay Pride Month here in Lake Worth Beach or in Palm Beach County, I think the proclamation read. Now, those two causes are not unrelated. And, I say that because something happened, which, you guys can Google, that involved me. And, here's what I'll say. I taught civics for several years. And by the time we get to the Declaration of Independence, it's been about a month. And you teach kids those words that we all know. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal, so on and so forth. And then when the kids learn, who are like 12, that the person who wrote those words was a slaveholder, they get confused because the guy was a complicated guy. He was a walking paradox. And if there is to be any blemish on the record of that great man and Thomas Jefferson, it was that he didn't understand what his own words meant, or at least their full meaning. And so, what I hope is that history, folks in the future, won't look back at our times and judge some of us the same way. I'm an African-American man. I care a great deal about the advancement of African-American people because we've been historically, we've had some issues, okay? Because of that struggle, I care also a great deal about LGBTQ Americans and the advancement for their rights. And what I hope is that all of us who are in different groups, you might not be African American, maybe your parents were Polish or Italian or Irish. You might not be gay, maybe you're African American. You might not be either, but maybe you're a woman, right? all of us have something. There's some part of our identity for which we have a reason to hope for a little more advancement in our society. And we would do better to link up and to link our struggles to the other person's struggles, rather than use our struggles to put down other people or to justify or excuse the putting down of other people because of the class or the category to which they belong. And so those will be my only comments for this month.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I haven't much other than I too would like to express my appreciation, if you will, for Mary Ann Weber and company for the tremendous work they did this year on the Street Painting Festival. As Commissioner Robinson said, it just seems to get bigger and bigger each year. And the weather held out very nicely, by the way. I don't think I saw a drop of rain for the 2 days. So that was a cool thing. And also remind everybody that March 15th, St. Patrick's Day Parade. Everybody's Irish for a day, so don't be staying home thinking, it's, a club thing. Everybody's going to be green for a day, so come on out and have a good time. And that's, I think, 1 o'clock. Is that right, Commissioner Amoroso? And to you, sir, I want to apologize. I got tied up at work today, and I was not here for the raising of the flag, the gay pride flag and rainbow flag. And I apologize to you and to Julie and everybody. This, I think, is the first year I've missed. So I'm really, I hope nobody, first of all, I hope nobody even noticed.
We missed you.
But I do apologize for not being there, and I was there in spirit. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. TPA has been quite heated. There has been the battle over whether or not to build State Road 7 or whether or not to not build State Road 7. And State Road 7 was in the plan from probably before I was born. So they've been battling back and forth as to whether or not to keep this plan on. We're a planning agency, the TPA. We're not a construction agency, and we don't fulfill any plans, but we put things and earmark them in plans. So it was taken off the agenda, and then it was put back on, voted back on the agenda as a planned progress. So that's it. All the focus has been there. We haven't been talking anywhere close to Lake Worth Beach. So sort of a recap of that. Street Painting Festival was amazing. You all mentioned Mary Ann, but I want to mention Bruce by name too, and to Nadine. It was really, Sunday was incredible. I think it was probably the most crowd I've ever seen on any one day on Sunday. It was that big. Saturday, we did get a couple of sprinkles. Kind of kept people away a little bit because they thought it was going to open up, but it didn't really quite pan out that way. But we did get a little bit of rain and some of those poor murals, the people that went and painted them and thought they were done, and then they got a little washed away for a minute there. But amazing job, everyone. It was bigger and better than ever, and it really says a lot. These people were from Lake Worth, Marion and Bruce, and I remember them talking about how they were sitting down with Bo and Aaron Allen, former commissioner here too, and talking about putting this festival on as something to bring people into the community to find out just how special this community is, and for people to get a chance to see it. And they, of course, Marion and Bruce had a very successful gallery and business and art shop in town, and they said, what about street painting? They put this festival together, and it's become bigger and better each and every year, and it really is a signature event for the city. It means a lot to the city. It puts us on the map in a very positive light, and we're very grateful to them. Also this week we had celebration of the Midnight Sun Festival, the old Finlandia days at Bryant Park this past weekend. I was honored to be out there reading a proclamation and saying hi. Many Finnish people in this community helped build this community. And in fact, half those motels on South Federal Highway were initially built to house Finns in the winter months. And that's why they all have kitchens and stuff. They weren't quite apartments. They were more vacation rentals at the time. And a lot of the shops in the downtown, and even go to Bryant Park, you'll see statues that were commissioned by famous and well-known Finnish people in the community who accomplished quite a bit. So we're very grateful that they brought this festival that was away from the city for many, many decades. They brought it back a couple of years ago. So we're proud to have that festival back as well. So thanks to them too. Don't forget, the Great Taste put on by the neighborhoods is this Friday. Can you still get tickets?
Yes.
Okay, you can still get tickets. So you're going to get a chance to sample food and all kinds of great things from a lot of the restaurants downtown, and it's just always a good time for all. A lot of times it was before the Street Painting Festival, but this time it's going to have its own starring role with the streets shut down on Lake Avenue from, I think it's going to be like J to Federal, I think. So come on down Friday night and be a part of that. I also had a chance this past Friday to visit just west of our city limits, the Salvation Army. They had their annual event out there at the campus. Boy, I had never been to that campus. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a chapel out there, and they do a lot of programs for a lot of people in our community. So thank you to all the good work that they do. Thank you to everyone that came out for the flag raising today. Pride Fest on its way soon. We always love having that in our beautiful city. And I want to thank everyone from the Central Palm Beach County Chamber and staff here at the city too for nominating me for the Women of Worth Award from the Central Palm Beach County Chamber. Didn't win, but but it was an honor to be nominated, and thank you everyone for thinking of me. All right, moving on. We will move on to the public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda items. This is for electric, so I've got one card. Steve Lockwood.
I'm Steve Lockwood. I'm a president of the Historical Society of Lake Worth. I live at 511 Lucerne, and I appreciate the opportunity to briefly brief the mayor and commission on our activities, recent and upcoming. As most of you know, we're a 501c3. We're not connected to the city in any official way, although we substantially benefit from the use of the library and museum facilities, and we quite often have our monthly programs either here in the commission room or in the annex. We have a board of directors. We have about 70 dues-paying members. We survive substantially on membership fees plus donations for specific activities that we're conducting. We have monthly programs, that are usually presentations on something that's relevant to the history of Lake Worth. This year, had a program on Lake Osborne, on the architects Meisner and G. Sherman Childs, our own Lake Worth architect. The Pioneer Pierce family in Palm Beach County. Last week, recognizing Black History Month, we had a program on the history of the Black community in the Lake Worth area. Brian Knowles, many of you know him from the school district. Interestingly, I think next week, on the Wednesday the 11th, we're having a program on the history of the Gulfstream Hotel called The 9 Lives of the Gulfstream, a fascinating history that, frankly, I only knew bits and pieces of. I still know, well, I know more bits and pieces of it. It's very colorful and interesting, and of course, it's very exciting in terms of what may be going on here in the near future. And then next month, our last program of the week of the year will be on Art Deco architecture. We have a Facebook page and a where you can get information on our latest programs. You also have a website that has more detail. And I'll just mention a couple of the activities that we have going on. We have had for some time under development a large color clay tie mural that is proposed for installation at the picnic pavilion in South Bryant Park by Tracy Rosa Peterson. It's unbelievable, 6 by 12, 8-inch multicolor clay tiles with some wording that explains things to kids, and it depicts the first post office, the James family, their neighbors, the flora and the fauna. It's really incredible. We're also in the process of applying for an official Florida Heritage site plaque that would be on the site of the original post office there. We're transcribing a set of interviews we found in the Museum of Lake Worth Pioneers. The interviews were made on cassettes in the 70s and 70s, 80s, and 90s. We want to make sure that's not lost. Next year, we're going to have a background study research regarding the archaeological resources of Lake Worth. Last year, we got a program by the county archaeologist, and we realized that nobody really knows exactly what may be around and worth knowing about.
Thank you. You know what, can I invite you back to come do a presentation?
Yes,
So
certainly.
that we can give you more time to talk about the programs, because
Absolutely.
I know that,
I'll be hanging this poster up front in the, and around town that gives the details on the program next Wednesday.
Look at
And
that.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
appreciate it, thank you. Todd, Velez?
Hello, Todd Velez. I see here the ratification or the second amendment for an agreement with the MID. I hope that includes the marker for Iris Stanfield. I did speak to them and they were interested in doing something about that. And today at 9:11 a.m., someone, they left the city and 1419 14th Street North, an individual pulled a gun and held it at a city worker that didn't pick up the trash. And the police did come, the garbage man did call, and I went up, this was in the summer, and I went up and said, "You did see the gun, right?" And the city worker did. My point is that there wasn't much about that. That may be why they left at 9:11 this morning. But my point is that sometimes it seems that in the policing report, you're getting into the foyer, not into the full, into the house, meaning you're getting a tamped down report of what the statistics are. I could go much further, but because I saw that this morning, that kicked it off. So I'll write down a few things that I have seen. So expect that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more? Seeing there were none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by the Vice Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to our public hearings. City Attorney, would you read the ordinance, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance number 2020-02 of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 23 entitled Land Development Regulations of the Code of Ordinance by amending Article 1, General Provisions relating to definitions, Article 3, Zoning Districts, by creating a cultural arts district overlay, and for other purposes, providing for severability, conflicts, and codification, and providing an effective date.
And
So
we'll
moved.
entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by the Vice Mayor. This is the second reading, and we already had the presentation on that. Are there any other questions or comments for staff at this point? Seeing there are none, do we have any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
There are none. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to new business. This is also an ordinance. City Attorney, would you read it, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Ordinance number 2020-03 of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, adopting Section 1-9 City Seal of Chapter 1, General Provisions, to adopt the City of Lake Worth Beach City Seal and providing for severability, repeal of laws in conflict, codification, and an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion. Second.
I'll second it. I have a question. Why don't we ever use this seal? If it's
Madam Mayor?
been our seal and basically all we're doing is adding beach. Help me out.
Madam Mayor, if I may,
Please.
the city clerk uses this seal on all things that are officially signed by the city
Okay.
per
For the
attestation.
charter.
This thing here? So how come, for example,
That's not it.
That's a logo.
That's our logo.
Put one in the circle.
so and this is just a thought here, and maybe I'm wrong. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. But for example, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. The city seal there is the sun and the sail, and it's like split. Have you guys ever seen that logo before? Okay. It's the logo. Is that?
Logo, it's not their seal.
It's not their seal.
Two different things.
This
How many questions?
This is a branding
Really?
nightmare.
we can't.
Sure.
Well, you know, why can't we unify these things? You know,
The logo of the city is representative of what we want Lake Worth to be. Our city seal
At the
is
top.
the official seal that just seals our contracts and our ordinances and our resolutions.
They can't fit all those things on the stage.
all right. Okay, doke.
Mr. Robinson?
That was my comment. I want everybody to understand that it's a legal seal, including Lake Worth, the name beach, and our logo, represents the logo of the times and is much easier to change than the seal.
Okay. We've got a motion on the floor and a second. Any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to the Lake Worth Electric Utility. We have public participation of non-agenda items. I do have a card. So I don't know.
No, it's the consent agenda.
Where's the public participation?
Ooh.
It should have been in
Above.
It's only one.
There's only one, there's
Oh.
not two. We don't
Well,
do
then-
two for,
Well, then,
So I should
but
have
he
done.
could, but he could, they
Okay,
could.
I held it because
Oh,
I thought there
super.
was.
Okay, no.
It said here, but I was thinking that was the place to read it. Sorry. Oopsie. Ryan Olander.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Ryan Oblander, 1702 North A Street, current chair of the Electric Utility Advisory Board. I was actually trying to make this presentation on the last Lake Worth Commission Electric Utility Board meeting, but that was canceled. So I'm here doing half of what I was going to do last meeting. Basically, the Electric Utility Advisory Board, as you know, the terms have changed and what we can and cannot do on our own. Most of the time, it has to be something that has been dictated by the commission to discuss and mull over for the city's benefit. But lately, there hasn't been anything. So at our last meeting that we had, we came up with a formal statement that says, can you allow us to look at some of these issues? So I have 4 here, and I'll just read them off. Community solar, demand response, ocean current power, and downtown merchant lighting. The advisory board requests permission to discuss potential policies and steps the utility could undertake to offer a community solar program. In light of the recent rollback of our net metering program, our efforts to market our clean energy leadership, and the unique position of our current solar field and a brownfield within an opportunity zone, we believe this issue should be materially examined by the utility. Demand response. The advisory board requests permission to examine potential policies and steps the utility could undertake to offer a demand response program. As with a community solar program, we believe this could be a profitable way for the utility to further distinguish itself as an asset to our community and clean energy leader. Moreover, we think such a program might specifically be a way to finance the much-needed upgrading of our utility billing system. Ocean current power. The advisory board requests permission to examine potential policies and steps the utility could undertake to more materially support the realization of our ocean current power generation goals. Specifically, we believe we should examine policies that may help evidence our community's commitment to and the market's interest in ocean current power and, by extension, the value of SEMREC. Downtown merchant lighting. The advisory board asks that you examine opportunities to further expand the amount of lighting in our downtown to support commerce. We have heard from some downtown merchants that the current lighting on the blocks immediately north and south of Lake and Lucerne Avenues is insufficient to attract and support commerce at nighttime. So, that being said, as the opportunity arises at the next Lake Worth electric version of this commission meeting, if there can be some kind of policy matter to discuss, that can go on our next agenda for our April meeting. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got the, do we have a motion on the
No.
consent agenda?
So moved.
We don't have
There you
it
go,
yet.
second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. City Attorney, do you have a report?
No, Madam Mayor.
Assistant City Manager?
no, Madam Mayor.
And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second.
Second.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.